Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, call I'm La, Alahaina, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone who grew well and teach well, and a hearty Shalom to the elect. Alright, your brother Karadazai back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And I've seen a bunch of videos that I want to share and show, okay, in regards to the MOTB, alright, which is coming, okay. This thing is coming. It's right around the corner. All right, you got these nations starting up their digital ID. All right, Mexico. You got Sweden doing their whole hand chip thing. All right, you got this government shutdown here in America. Who knows what that's going to lead to? All right, in regards to its currency. All right, within the last 5 years, America has lost 25% of its dollar has lost 25% of its buying power, and all these things you can look up, you know. Then you got the UK making it mandatory for everybody to get a digital ID, okay? So things like this are showing you what's to come, all right? And what's to come is this beast system, all right? This RFID chip being a part of it, okay? So this is Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning for me. All right, I'm going to read it in verse 7 in the NLT, 17 in the NLT. Come here. This is Ezekiel 3:17. It says, Son of man, I have appointed you as a watchman for Israel. Whenever you receive a message from me, warn people immediately. And how do we receive our messages from the Lord? Through the Holy Spirit, okay? All right, and we get that, you know, that's where inspiration comes. Let me see, I know there's a scripture on that. All right, this is 2 Timothy 3:16. It says, all scripture is given by inspiration of Yahweh and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. All right, and that's what we use we use the scriptures to give our people warning, which through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, inspiration for doctrine, profitable for doctrine, for reproof, which is a form of correction. All right. And instruction, all right? Just like it says here in 2 Timothy 3:16, okay? So let's look at some of these videos. All right, you see the time on the upper left hand of my phone. It says 10:44. So call all y'all by Shemel Shai for that. So premise of most of these videos are going to be about a BIC or BCI, sorry. So a brain interface chip or a brain computer interface is a technology that uses implantable devices to read brain signals and translate them into commands for external devices. These chips can help individuals with severe paralysis, such as from spinal cord injuries or ALS, regain control over computers and robotic limbs, and enable them to communicate or speak by translating their intent to move muscles into words or speech. Some chips use invasive surgery to place electrodes directly into the brain, while others use less invasive methods like being inserted through blood vessels or placed near the surface of the brain. All right, and things of that nature is what you're going to see in these videos that I'm going to show you. Okay, so let's start with this. This is just a
is Blindsight, which if you follow my channel closely, you've probably heard me talk about this a bunch. But fortunately, we got some new info. Here's a clip of Joey O'Doherty talking about how the visual prosthesis will work.
Blindsight is our project to build a visual prosthesis to help the blind see again.
And you know, the scriptures say something in regards to miracles, you know. Oh, the brother got it here. This is Matthew 24 and 24. It says, false messiahs and false prophets will appear. They will work spectacular, miraculous signs and do wonderful things to deceive, even if possible, even those whom Yahweh has chosen. The elect is not going to be chosen. The elect is not going to be deceived, Salakia. All right, because the Lord has the Spirit on them to understand what's going on. All right. And just like I understand what's going on through the teachings of the men of Great Millstone, the understanding is going to come into the elect, just as I have gotten it, okay? Or maybe in a different form, okay? But they're not going to be deceived.
Users would wear a pair of glasses with an embedded camera and receive an implant in their visual cortex. Scenes from the environment are recorded by the camera and processed into patterns of stimulation delivered to the brain, causing visual perception and restoring functionality. Now, blindsight will be enabled by placing our implant into visual cortex. This is a new brain area for us, and this brings new opportunities and challenges. So the surface of the brain for visual cortex represents just a few degrees of angle in the center of the visual field. Larger fields of view are represented deep within the cortical folds of the calcarine fissure. Our threads are able to access these deeper structures, providing the possibility of restoring vision over a functionally useful visual field. So the N1 implant has had experimental stimulation capabilities for quite some time, but our new S2 chip is designed from the ground up for stimulation. It provides over 1,600 channels of electrical stimulation, high dynamic range recording capabilities, and a wide range of microstimulation currents and voltages. We can achieve these capabilities because we are vertically integrated and we designed this custom ASIC in-house. Similarly, we design and fabricate our electrode threads in-house. And here you can see one of our standard threads designed for recording in an electron micrograph. For blindsight, our requirements are a little different, and our vertical integration allows us to rapidly iterate on the design and manufacturing of these threads for this new purpose. So here, I'm using red arrows to highlight the electrode contacts, which are optimized for stimulation. And as you can see, they're a little bit larger, which results in a lower electrical impedance for safe and effective charge delivery, which is important for blindsight. Now, how can we calibrate our implant for blindsight? So here's one way. We stimulate on the array, picking, say, 3 different channels. The user perceives something, say 3 spots of light, somewhere in their visual field, and points at them. We track their arm and eye movements and repeat this process for each of the channels on the array. And here's what a simulated example of a blindsight vision could look like after calibration.
You heard him say, after all that scientific jargon, you heard him say what a simulated vision could look like, okay? All right, so that means they're still testing these things.
Then the other main advancement Neuralink's working on.
Talk about the different approaches between precision.
All right, so, and then the brother got the precept at the top. Let me get it. Because this is what's going to be ushered in to have people buying and selling, okay? Things of this nature, all right? This is Revelation 13 and 16. It says, and he causeth all both, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And this lesson is you know, centered, focused around the brain interface chip, okay? Or the brain chip interface, however they say it, all right? Because it's going in the forehead, all right? It's going in a person's head. Their brain is going literally on their brain, all right? And then there was something I wanted to look up on here. Let me see, commentaries. I think it was... John Brown. Oh yeah, this is going to be important for later right here.
And Neuralink.
Some competing approaches to this technology, including Neuralinks, involve doing some amount of tissue damage upon implantation. So the precision system sits on the surface of the brain, underneath the
So he said there's going to be some tissue damage in your brain while they implant this thing.
skull and underneath the dura, but on the surface of the brain without doing any damage. So you can see here, it's incredibly thin. It's a fifth of the width of a human hair. We deposit 1,024 microplatinum electrodes on the array, most of which are about 50 microns in diameter. So that is the size of an individual neuron. You can't see it with the naked eye.
This is the human brain, the most complex and least understood part of the human body. It's the very essence of you, your thoughts, memories, and personality. They all reside here.
And you know, with everything in regards to, surveillance and, acts of security for nations and people within these lands and these borders, there's also a form of control. But if you let somebody put this thing on your brain as they, get greater and greater with their advances and their upgrades, all it's going to do is lead to control you, okay? All right?
Since the 1970s, scientists have dreamed of connecting the human brain to a computer. This kind of brain-computer interface would help those with disabilities, bypass damaged nerves, restore lost senses, and maybe even provide enhancements. Now, in the 21st century, several startups are racing to build the world's best brain implant. For the better part of a decade, Elon Musk's Neuralink was at the center of the conversation. But now, two rivals are rising up. One of them is led by an ex-Neuralink co-founder. And the thing is, as we'll see later in this episode, even more interesting companies are entering the space. It's a growing industry that's kind of going under the radar. In this episode, we'll explore these companies trying to digitize and tap into the human mind. We'll explore how the tech works, its potential, and take a step back and ask ourselves, is this even a good idea in the first place?
The answer to this question is no, it's not a good idea, okay? And let me go here and get this, and to show you, especially for you so-called Negro Latinos and Native American Indians, why it's not a good idea. This is Revelations 14 and 9. It says, and a third angel followed the first two, saying in a loud voice, those who worship the beast and its image and receive the mark on their foreheads or on their hands will themselves drink Yahweh's wine, the wine of his fury, which he has poured out at full strength into the cup of his anger. All who do this will be tormented in fire and sulfur by before the holy angels and the Lamb. The smoke of their fire, the smoke of the fire that torments them goes up forever and ever. There is no relief day or night for those who worship the beast and his image, for anyone who has the mark of his name. This calls for endurance on the part of Yahweh's people, which are the Israelites, more specifically the elect, those who obey Yahweh's commandments and are faithful to Yahweh Shai. All right, so this is why it's not a good idea, because the Lord's going to jack you up, okay? All right.
China's breakthroughs are revealing a growing...
Don't let these in your back pocket or your purse. A tech company wants you to keep it under your skin.
All right, so let's explain here. Walletmore is selling microchips implanted in your hand as an alternate payment. Could this be the future? Maybe. Once you set up your card info in the company's app, look at this. It says payments could be as easy as swiping your hand over a card reader.
Listen to this.
This Tesla driver won't be losing his car keys anytime soon, unless he also loses his right hand. Brandon Dalley had a tiny chip implanted into his hand and posted the video on Twitter and YouTube. He told Teslarati, a media site dedicated to all things related to Elon Musk and Tesla, that he's part of a beta group testing the VivoKey Apex. It uses near-field communication, or NFC, which is the same technology used when you tap your phone to make payments. Tech implants like this are on the rise. A European company, Walletmore, sells implants that allow you to make payments with the wave of your hand. Would you get an implant inserted into your body if it meant never losing your wallet or keys again?
Instead of carrying your wallet and your
The answer should be no.
Biometric identifier mandatory for all citizens. And this
All right, this is the same thing that they have done within the last few. I think last month they probably came out with the UK and their digital ID. All right, this is leading to that. Okay.
was posted on July 18th, 2025. Down here it says Mexico has officially introduced a digital identification system by signing a law that turned the previously optional biometric-based citizen code into a mandatory document for all citizens. It contains personal and biometric information, including photograph and QR code containing biometric, fingerprint, and iris data. Here it says, yes, Mexico has mandated a biometric digital ID system for all its citizens. The government has formally made the previously voluntary unique population registry code a mandatory digital ID, requiring all citizens to obtain a new version that includes biometric data such as fingerprints, iris scans, and photographs encoded in a QR code. This reform, approved in July 2025, is part of a broader initiative to create a centralized unified identity platform which will integrate the CERB with various government and private sector databases for real-time identity verification. And then down here at the bottom, it says the mandatory biometric CERB is being rolled out gradually with full nationwide adoption expected by February 2026. That is in 6 months. And today is August 5th, 2025, and 2025 is part of a digital ID, fingerprint, and...
You see, it says, let's read the middle of this. It says, it contains personal and biometric information, including photograph and QR code containing biometric fingerprints and iris data. Now let's look at this. This is the commentary on John Brown, okay? It says here in the Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, okay, to receive a mark on their right hand or their foreheads. Okay. It says here in point 1, 548 charagma, it says a thing carved, sculpted, graven work, all right. And then you see the word karax. It says to sharpen a point through the idea of scratching. Now, if you go, let's go back to this video here.
your back pocket or your
over a car
keys anytime. Dellily had to also lose his hand and posted the video on dedicated to all things related to Elon Musk and Tesla. It uses Z, which is the same technology key Apex. Media site dedicated to all things related to Elon Musk and Tesla that he's part of a Tesla Rati, a media site dedicated to all things related to Elon Musk and Tesla.
Alright, put it in his hand. Alright. It says this sounds a lot like a hypodermic needle piercing the skin.
That he's part of a beta group, Tesla Rati, a media site dedicated to video on Twitter and YouTube. He told Tesla Rati, a media site dedicated to all.
Okay. It says here, if you remember last week, we pointed out the number 666 had a name, and the name was Chi-Psi Stigma. Stigma are from stizo, to stick, i.e. prick, a mark pricked or branded upon the body. That's what you saw.
Things related to Elon Tesla Rati, a media site dedicated to all things related.
It says here, one of Webster's dictionary's definition calls stigma a small spot, scar, or opening on a plant or animal. Again.
Related to Elon Musk. Tesla Rati, a media site dedicated to all things.
It says in the readout of the microchip, there were 9 levels of information that designers wanted included. They were name and an image of your or picture of your face. They wanted also your social security number, extra international digits, a fingerprint. Identification was also to be included, physical description, family history, address, criminal record, occupation, income tax information. All right. So just to, line it up with this.
Iris data. Here it says, yes, Mexico has citizens. It contains personal and biometric information, including photograph and QR code containing biometric, fingerprint, and iris data.
See, these are the things that's going to be in that chip, man. But But the whole point of this lesson was to warn you to stay away from these things, okay? All right, Lord Williams edified. To the next time. Shalom.